All right, ladies and gentlemen, big news today, of course. The Republicans and the president reaching agreement on a budget, a 2-year budget. And the way it was done and what was done has a lot of people seeing red. And I don't mean anger red, and I mean red on the bankruptcy red. Stephen Moore, I'm sure he's mad. Last time he was here, he was very mad. A senior fellow at the Heritage Foundation and former senior economic writer for the Wall Street Journal. Good to see you, my friend.
Hey, Steve.
And, of course, Committee to Unleash Prosperity as well. Go to their website, check it out. All right. So Boehner and Obama, I guess in a parting shot to Republicans, Boehner comes up with this agreement in the back room with Obama. 2 years, Obama gets everything he wants on spending, and what the heck's going on?
Well, now I know what General Lee must have felt like at Appomattox, because this wasn't a negotiation. This was a surrender.
Yeah,
this was a surrender to everything that that the Democrats wanted. And the reason Republicans, well, the leadership agreed to this is they wanted to avoid a budget fight at all costs. So they surrendered. They surrendered the three things that matter most. Number one, they raised the debt ceiling without any conditions. Last week I was on the show. I was mad because I predicted that this was going to happen.
Yes.
You're borrowing $1 trillion a year. You just say, here's another extension of your credit card. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Number two, they got rid of the spending caps. Now this is what's odd about this, Steve. I would make the case, and I've been a supporter of John Boehner's because I think one of his great victories was that Budget Control Act in 2011 that established these budget caps.
Yeah.
He just gave away his legacy. He just basically said the caps are gone. Number three, the enforcement mechanism was the sequester. If you're over budget, we automatically cut. The liberals hated that. It was like a cross in front of a vampire, that sequester.
Yes.
They got rid of the sequester. And then you ask, look, there were some minor beneficial changes, some of these entitlement programs, but those do not offset the surrender that happened on the spending. Spending under this deal in 2016 will go up by more than $300 billion in 1 year.
That is insane. And what's the purpose, before we get to Ryan and everything else, why through 17, why 2 years?
Because Republicans are in the fetal position. They want to avoid any more budget fights because, oh my gosh, the last time we shut down the government, it didn't work. Well, by the way, the Republicans there was a shutdown of the government. I think Obama shut it down.
And a year later, they had a landslide.
Yeah, exactly. Now I actually think, let's put aside the policy, which I think is terrible.
Right.
The politics, I think, are even worse. Are these Republicans still live in some kind of bubble?
Well,
where they're not paying attention to what's happening? Are they not paying attention to Trumpism and the anger of conservatives? That Republicans are not fighting for these conservative principles?
Paul Ryan, in my view, is playing good cop, bad cop with Boehner, saying, oh, I don't like the way this was done. But as you pointed out to me, Ryan is saying, I don't like the way it was done, but what has he said about the actual content of the deal?
That's a great question. I don't know. And by the way, Paul Ryan, as I've told you on the show, I love Paul Ryan. I think he's going to be a great speaker. But I was struck by the fact he said, this is the wrong way to do it. The wrong way to do it. Of course it's the wrong way to do it. These behind closed doors negotiations.
But he didn't say what you said.
But he didn't say the deal was bad.
Yeah.
Now, Tom Price, he's been on your show from Georgia.
Sure.
He runs the budget committee. He was fuming. He said, wait a minute, we spent 9 months trying to put a conservative budget together. You threw that thing out the window, and you basically gave Obama everything in his budget.
Right.
Now, Steve, why in the world did voters go out there? Why did conservative canvass and raise money for Republicans who promised they would balance the budget, be fiscal conservatives? We have a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and for the first year they're in office, they raised spending by $300 billion. And one more thing, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
People, oh, well, Obama wants to do it. Obama cannot spend money.
Yeah,
Barack Obama cannot spend money.
Congress has to spend the money.
Congress has the power of the purse. If we're spending too much money, yes, Barack Obama deserves some of the blame, but Republicans are the ones who authorize the funding.
All right, debate tomorrow.
You agree with me on that, right?
I couldn't agree with you more. That's the way it works.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and
so look, if the Republicans have the White House, they say we couldn't do anything because they control the White House. If the Republicans have the Congress, they say they couldn't do it. I mean, they control the power of the purse. They could have controlled spending, and they didn't. And ladies and gentlemen, the reason they didn't control spending is they don't want to control spending.
Even more, ladies and gentlemen. All right, debate tomorrow. If you're the moderator for CNBC, first question.
How do you stand? How would you vote on the budget deal?
Yeah.
And I want to hear. I mean, inquiring minds want to know, right? And
well, we know Trump will say no. Carson, I assume, would say no. I assume Fiorina will say no.
Cruz will say no.
Cruz will say no. Rubio, I don't know.
We'll see what Jeb Bush says.
Rubio,
We'll see what some of these.
Kasich.
Yeah. Although Kasich was out there pounding away
Yes,
against
yeah.
this, and justifiably so. I just think it's going to be a real problem for Republicans in 2016 because voters are going to say, wait a minute, we just elected you guys to the majority in the House and
Yeah,
Senate.
I
You
mean, what
did
the hell?
nothing. Now you say give us the presidency. I think the politics are upside down on this. And you know who's the happiest person in Washington today?
Donald
Nancy
Trump?
Pelosi.
Oh, Nancy Pelosi. Oh, yeah, that
she
goes
is
without saying.
dancing a little jig. She's been waiting for this moment for 5 years, and she was beaming.
It is disgusting.
That should tell you a lot, right?
I'm so glad you were here today
Yeah,
because you bring some sanity to this whole thing. It is
There
really,
is no sanity
it's
in this
outrageous.
thing.
It's outrageous.
There is no sanity, folks.
The Republicans seem to be digging their own graves.
Got to beat the. You know what? I'm going to end an optimistic. We can beat this.
All right.
We can beat
okay,
this.
I hope so. All right, folks. Stephen Moore, Jay Cost is up next, but first tonight at 8 and 11 p.m. I have to do it again. Okay. All right. All right, Stephen.